Algebra 1, Lesson 85, stem and leaf plots and histograms. So this whole lesson is about data collection, right? And how to organize data in a understandable means. So the stem and the leaf plot. What the stem and leaf plot does is it separates data to where it's understandable. I'm going to come up with my own set of numbers really quick. Let's pause this. So here's my data, and let's say that for this example, these data is test scores, right? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 test scores. Now what I'm going to do here to make my stem and leaf plot is I'm going to separate the scores between what we call stems and leaves. So we have the stem side, we have the leaf side. Now the stem is going to be the tens digit, right? So here at tens digits we have 5, 7, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so the different stems I have, I'm going to have 5 is going to be a stem, 6 is going to be a stem, 7 is going to be a stem, 8 is going to be a stem, and 9 is going to be a stem. And you always want to put them in some type of order. I could have gone from 9 to 5. This time I went from 5 to 7, but keep them in order so that way you can see which way they'll count up, or there's a sense of order to your stems. Okay, so you want to put them in some type of numerical order. Now, as far as filling this out for the leaves, I'm going to go to the stem of 5. How many numbers do I have that start with 5? I have 1. The stem is 5. The leaf is going to be the second number, or 6. Okay, and that's it for that one because there are no other numbers that have 5. Now let's go to the stem of 6. Again, I've only got one number that starts with 6. In this case, the leaf is 7, right? So that gets rid of that number. Now, this is where it gets tricky. You may have noticed I've got 1, 2, 3 numbers that start with 7, but I only put 1 7 on the stem, and that's fine because the 3 numbers are going to be all put on the leaf spot. The first one, 7, 0, makes the first leaf. The next one, 7, 4. So I've got 0, 4. The next one, 7, 3. So here I can see on 7 I have a 70, I have a 74, and I have a 73. Next I'm going to go to 8. I've got 1 and 9. So 81, 89. And then for the 9s I've got 3 and 5. So now I can quickly see that from the stem and leaf plot, I've got 3 people who scored in the C range, 2 people who scored in the B range, 2 people who scored in the A range, 1 person who scored a D, 1 person who scored an F. So it's a great way for organizing data. And this can also be done with 3-digit numbers. You'll see here, for a 3-digit number, the stem was the tens and the hundreds digit. So for this data, the stem 84 refers to 846, 848, 848, 849, right? So we see all the leaves there. And then, so I mean, it can be done with 3-digit numbers as well. You just use 2 numbers for the stem and then 1 number for the leaf, okay? Now let's talk about a histogram. Now, quite simply, a histogram is a stem and leaf plot, but turned on its side to where it goes up. Now what this does for us is if we arrange a stem and leaf plot in a histogram, is we can have a pretty good bar graph, right? And it lets us see, the size of what's going on here in relation to each other. And it helps us see it a little bit better. And then this can also show us the frequency of distribution, right? So we can see there's a small number of people scoring low, a greater number of people scoring high. Now the advantage to organizing our data in stem and leaf plots and in histograms is that it's easier to figure out what do we call it? Statistical data, like the mean, the median, the mode, and stuff like that. So if I was to look at this histogram, I would know to find, and then the range. To find the range, I'd take the smallest number, which we can see here is going to be 5, 6, and subtract the biggest number, which we see is going to be 9, 6. So 9, 6 minus 5, 6 would be 40. So on this graph, I'm going to have a range of 40. All right, and then to find the mode, I'm just going to look for which numbers show up the most. So here I've got 2 5s on the 7. I've got 2 4s on the 7. So if I can find any number that shows up more than twice, I found the mode. Let's see here. I've got 2 7s here. Wait, 1 8, 2 8s. The mode is a little bit tricky on this one because I don't think there is anything that shows up 3 times. Nope, that's a bad example. Maybe I have to come up with a different example. Let me think here. Okay, yeah, on this example we would have multiple modes because there's a lot of numbers that show up twice, but I don't see any numbers that show up 3 times. So the mode here, we could have, 75 would be a mode, 87 would be a mode, 88 would be a mode, and 81 would also be a mode, along with 96, because those are all the numbers that show up twice. In your problems, I don't think you're going to have that issue, because that was a poor example. Let me see here. Yeah, you're not going to have that problem. But the whole point is, once you know how to make these plots, you can draw them, and then you can figure out this information from the plot. And then you also have to know how to create a frequency distribution in the table. That's just a histogram, right? So something like this, and that would be a frequency distribution. So it's all about learning how to graph or write down statistical data. And then you can answer different questions based on that statistical data. So if you guys have any trouble with that, let me know on Moodle, and I will see you in class.